Hi guys! Welcome to our Crash Course!
We'll be discussing bartering to advocate for justice to transactions in counseling.
So let me introduce you what is bartering first. So bartering is an age-old practice that has been used for thousands of years. It involves the exchange of goods and services without the use of money. So what does it mean by bartering in psychotherapy or counseling? It refers to the acceptance of non-monetary payments from clients or patients in exchange for psychological or counseling services. So let's see what are the types of bartering arrangement existing in today psychotherapy and counseling practices. So the first type of bartering arrangement is the bartering of goods. So bartering of goods is a form of exchange involve tangible objects for psychotherapy services. So in this arrangement, client may offer goods such as chicken, rice, fresh produce, and so on. So the second type of bartering arrangement is the bartering of services. Bartering of services involve the exchange of clients' work or services for psychotherapy services, such as a client providing the therapist landscaping services, fixing their car, or even acting as a financial or business advisor. So the third types of bartering arrangement can be the combination of the previous of two. So it can call bartering of goods and services. So for example, a client might build a custom-made cabinet for the therapist's office, where the patient is both an employee, designer, and the producer of good. So the last type of bartering arrangement that I would like to introduce is the bartering can be part of a pro bono or low-fee arrangement. So this means the goods or services exchanged by the client are considered part of the payment for the therapy sessions. So that's it all for the types of bartering arrangement. And now we are going to focus on the issues. What are the potential issues that will arise from the bartering arrangement, and how do we counter it? Thank you.
How do we tell what's a justifiable exchange when there's a lack of standardization and everything is so subjective in bartering itself? And put that in the counseling setting where biases may be involved, perception of biases and unfairness, and even the whole idea of payment being such a touchy topic. Hence, the formation of a mutual agreement done via a contract between the client and counselor is essential to be done with careful revisions and not out of impulse, and to be revised periodically to assess that both entities' interests are laid out clearly and justified. The conditions for the mutual agreement would dictate that the initial proposition made be done first of all by the client, with alternatives then being explored and discussed by both parties, with neither party being obliged to feel the one to give more, with their feelings being consistently addressed throughout. The frequency and duration of the deals also must be clarified, with the counsellor emphasizing very clearly that it is not a gift, but it's a reasonable exchange for the service provided. And the counsellor will ensure that the service will remain the same, just as it would when being paid, but via the monetary alternative as well. It's just like how any transaction in the global economy works. In the event that either party is unsatisfied with the arrangement, the contract may be terminated instantly, just as our services would stop when monetary payment has stopped, or vice versa, and hence the termination of the mutual agreement would commence.
Despite the huge risks that bartering brings in therapy, there are also potential benefits. The first one being that it aids unemployed and uninsured clients, especially during the pandemic where economic hardships and unemployment increases. An article written by Zur in 2008 states that refusing bartering can be seen as a form of discrimination that prevents the client from actually receiving the treatment that they need. The next potential benefit is that you, as a counselor, empower them, especially when you accept handmade goods given by the client. This shows and encourages the client that they have the capabilities in producing something of value. When Zur in 2008 hung the painting that was given by his client in his office during their sessions, that gesture of his actually created a deeper therapeutic connection with the client. Lastly, it is therapeutically beneficial, especially when you're bartering with culturally diverse clients who consider bartering as a norm. This could possibly portray that you value the client's background and their culture and genuinely wants to help them. Based on what we've covered so far, we have a little quiz for you now. Let's take a look at this scenario together. Anil, the counselor, has a client named Daniel who is a web developer. He's been seeing him every week for about 7 months now. Anil knows Daniel well and they have a strong therapeutic rapport. Daniel is currently unemployed and is searching for freelance opportunities. So he was wondering whether he could help Anil rebuild his company website in exchange for the rest of the therapy sessions. Well, Anil cannot afford to hire someone. He does feel comfortable with Daniel, and he knows that Daniel is a client who respects boundaries as well. So in this case, if you were Anil the counselor, what would you do? A. Ask Daniel what this offer means to him and accept it. B. Inform Daniel that he is being inappropriate. C. Lay out the contractual agreement with Daniel again, specifying the duration, frequency, and conditions of the deal. D. Decline the offer but inform Daniel that once he's no longer your client, he can still help you.
And the answer is C. By laying out the contractual agreement with Daniel and specifying the duration, frequency, and the conditions of the deal, we ensure both parties are sufficiently informed of the bartering agreement, thus reducing chances of misinformation or misunderstandings in the future.
So the next question is, in the same scenario, what are the bartering arrangements are being used? A. Bartering of services. B. Bartering of goods. C. Bartering of personal items. D. All of the above. So the answer is A. Bartering of services.
Here are some additional tips we can follow to avoid ethical issues in bartering. Avoid bartering with clients who have strong negative feelings about you. This way, the nature of transfer into the relationship is taken into consideration. Avoid overlapping relationships such as an employer-employee relationship. This reduces chances for additional power imbalance. Ensure cost of the barter is fair to each party, so don't barter for a pack of peanuts, but also don't barter for tons of gold. And when bartering for goods, barter for relatively impersonal items to avoid complications with evaluation of the goods received. To summarize our crash course, we would like to highlight Rappapal's value of value psychotherapy, which emphasizes the advantages of bartering in therapy going beyond financial reasons. He says, bartering not only provides an alternative payment option for those who cannot afford therapy, but also strengthens the therapeutic relationship and fosters a sense of reciprocity. So we hope we have provided you a new perspective of bartering in a counseling context, and we are looking forward to hearing what you think. That's all for our crash course. Thank you for listening.
Bye.